Good afternoon, everyone. In today's class, we shall be looking at three dimensions of disease, illness, and sicknesses. Looking at what this each concept represent: disease, sickness, and illness. What is a disease? For the most part, quite a number of people are unable to differentiate what disease or illness or sickness is all about. Disease is a dysfunction of the body or the mind. It's a condition that can cause deterioration to us as humans. It causes damage or damages to this body, um, and this can be identified through uh, the use of tests, assessments, diagnosis, or biomedical theories by the physicians, the doctors, people who are responsible to carry out these tests before diseases or illness or can be identified. So on this particular concept, we're looking at what disease specifically stands for or what it represents. So it's a dysfunction of the body where the body deteriorates, it cannot respond normally. It's a condition that breaks us down as human. And this can be caused by various um, problems. It could be inheritance, as genetic, coming from parents to parents, disease being handed over, or intergenerational problems where you inherited this from your family. That's why many times you go for your diagnosis or for your assessments, you're found that you have this particular disease. And most cases, the doctors will ask you, have you had these sort of issues coming up from your biological families and all that? So disease such as cancer is a problem to the body. It's a disease such as tuberculosis. Some of these diseases can be caused by bacteria or viruses as well. When we are infected or come across contaminated foods, this can also impact or cause us to have a disease. And that can only be identified through assessments by the professionals, the healthcare professionals, or, like I said, through gene, something you have inherited. That's a brief understanding of what diseases is all about, as brief as possible. Now, looking at illness, for example, what is illness? Is how we feel. It's a subjective feelings and our experiences of symptoms of issues, problems, diseases that we have. How we experience it emotionally, psychologically, and otherwise. How do we perceive our body? That's illness, and how we respond to that. So that's different from a disease, which is a diagnosis, or it can be resulted to the findings due to diagnostic arrangements by the physicians. That's when you can establish what disease is about. But in case of sickness, it's how we perceive ourselves, how we see, how we feel, how we respond to issues around us. And for example, we're feeling tired, feeling very weak, we feel very exhausted, and that's the body responding to that kind of situation. And that's how we come out to say that we're feeling unwell. Now, that now differentiates what sickness is about. Sickness also can be looked at as a societal determinant of health, what the perception of the society feels about a particular illness, how the society wants to see you or respond to issues around sickness, such as having a running nose and the perception given by the society. For example, if you feel that makes you unwell, that is sickness. In most cases, when you're unwell, feeling sick, you are still able to carry out some of your activities. But it is normally expected that when you feel unwell, that makes you ill because you have sickness, such as runny nose, such as you have virus attack or any kind of fungal attack, parasitic parasites, by being bitten by parasites such as mosquito bites, etc., that makes you uncomfortable, unwell in a place of work, your employer is responsible or is expected to grant you a leave. That's why we have sick leave, to enable you recuperate, get yourself back to normal before you come back to work. So these are the three dimensions when we're looking at diseases, sicknesses, and illness. I hope this video is informative while I bring you the next video in our next session. Thank you. Bless you.